Hello, creative friends. This is Joy coming to you with another art journal page. So, I decided I wanted to do another art journal page with a piece of junk mail. So, I found this flyer here that I decided to glue down with Aleene's tacky glue on this page. This page has some white paint that I had used up from another project on it, but I decided to go ahead and just glue this down over top of it and then gesso the whole thing to do this art journal page with. This particular journal, I actually almost have it filled, and I thought that I had one page left to completely fill this page, but I started flipping through and realized that I skipped a couple of pages. Not sure why I did that, but I've decided, well, I guess you can't really call it filled and completed until you fill in the ones that you skipped. So this is one of them that, for whatever reason, I skipped past. So I decided that it would be fun to do a journal page with a piece of junk mail again, because it makes the journal and the page interesting and interactive. So I cover this whole thing with clear gesso, and then I let it dry completely before I move on to the next part. And when I started this journal page, I really didn't know what I was going to do, didn't really have anything in mind. All I knew was I wanted to put down a piece of junk mail to do a journal page with. And so that's basically, where I kind of started. There's quite a few times where I'll start a page without really having an idea in mind. But, my theory is, the hardest part is getting started. And if you could just get started and just work it, it'll eventually come together. You'll eventually figure it out. So I noticed that from the crease getting wet, it was starting to pull apart. So I thought, well, I will put down a piece of tape and tape it to reinforce it. And I thought it'd be fun to do something with this page that I did on a project with my granddaughter, which was to put down a dark blue paint and then put some tissue paper over top. But I thought it would even be more interesting if there was some kind of a pattern to it. So I pulled out my collage page and glued down the pieces of sheet music on the page to give it a little bit more interest and some kind of a pattern to the background. And so here I'm going over the top and the bottom. I put glue on the bottom, and then now I'm gluing the top. And these pages, interesting enough, were the exact size of this flyer that I'm using. So that was kind of nice that everything kind of worked exactly like it did. I didn't have to do any trimming on anything except for when it came to covering around the border of it. Then of course I did have to cut up the sheet music in order to make strips that would fit around the outside of the border to cover it with the sheet music. And so here I'm continuing to glue down and cover this page with the sheet music. I have another video ready to be posted that's for the hashtag CAC Fantasy Art March collaboration event that's going on. And it's the creative collaboration, arts collaboration group that I'm a member of that is having this event. But it's not going to happen till this weekend. So I was going to post it for my, Tuesday afternoon posting, but realized that we're not supposed to post until the weekend. So I'm getting this particular video edited so I can get it posted, and I'll be posting that one for the Creative Arts Collaboration Group this weekend for the hashtag CAC Fantasy Art event. So if you're interested in seeing all of the videos that are posted for that event, then you just search on YouTube for hashtag CAC Fantasy Art and you'll see everybody's videos. And then, of course, I will be posting my video this weekend and then another video at my regularly scheduled time next Tuesday. So lots of videos in the works right now, and I'm really excited about the one that I did for the fantasy art, because I not really had done anything that I considered fantasy art, but the page that I did really did turn out pretty interesting. So you'll be seeing that getting posted as well this weekend. So here I'm just going around the edge, making sure that I've got everything really glued down good. And originally I tried to glue down this paper with clear gesso, but it was not sticking. So I had to revert to this other to get it down and adhered to the page. So I wanted the background, like I said, to be dark blue, and then cover it with tissue paper, with some light blue tissue paper. But I wanted to be able to see the sheet music, so I took the dark blue acrylic paint, and it's just craft paint, and I watered it down, because if I was to put it on there straight, it would completely cover up the sheet music. You wouldn't even be able to see it. So here I'm just taking and watering down the blue acrylic paint to cover this whole page with the dark blue. And I did, after I covered it the first time, I decided that I wanted it darker. So I did go over it with a second coat. I preferred to do it, lighter or too light and go over with a second coat rather than do it too dark. So I think it worked out really well that even though I ended up going over it a second time, that, it turned out, really well, and the shade of that I was looking for, because I didn't want it too dark, but I didn't want it too light either, if that makes sense. And I wanted to be able to see the sheet music after I laid down the tissue paper on top of it, but also be able to see the blue color, the dark blue color. And so it worked out really nice. I really like the way this page turned out. It turned out really pretty. And so this was an idea, like I said, from a project that I helped my granddaughter with, where we did she had to do a planet. So we colored like the styrofoam ball with dark blue and then put over it like blue tissue paper, and it just really turned out interesting. And I thought it'd be neat to do it on an art journal page. So here I'm just trimming off the sheet music, and then I'm going to glue down some tissue paper that I have in my stash, and it's kind of a blue-green color. You can see it there in the corner. I'm just making sure all my edges are down good, because I found a couple of corners weren't glued down as good as they could have been. So it's kind of a blue-green color, but with the dark blue underneath, it just it went really well with the dark blue. So I put down some of the glue, and then I put the tissue paper down, and the tissue paper was already wrinkled, but even if it wasn't wrinkled, I would have wrinkled it, because I just think it gives it, better texture and makes it more interesting. So when you go over the top of this, you have to be very careful, though, because tissue paper will tear if you're not careful. And so I was trying to kind of pounce the glue on there more than rub, and I still got some tears in it, but it's easy to fix. You just take a little piece and you just glue it down over top of where the tear is, and by the time it dries, you can't really even tell that there's pieces to it. And I decided just to cover the top and around the edges of this journal page and leave the inside with the sheet music and the dark blue rather than covering the inside as well. I thought that way it would kind of give it, more interest and be different. And here I was trying to get the tissue paper that was on the top not to interfere with me putting down the other strips, but then I realized that it was actually tearing pretty easily where, it was wet around the edges, so I went ahead and just trimmed it up and took the rest of it off. And then making sure that the edge is glued down really well. And it did, in a place or two, tear off more than I wanted to, but I just took a piece and just stuck it back on there and glued it down. And like I said, it just covers it up real nicely, and by the time it's dry, you can't really tell. So here I'm going around the edges and with these strips, to glue those down. The strips of tissue paper to glue those down around the edges. And after I get all of this down, I decided, well, I need to come up with an idea of what I'm going to do with this page. And so I went through my stash and I found a couple things, a couple of words, phrases, and, quotes and things to add to the page that I thought went well together and that would, make this journal page, come together. And that's typically what I do a lot of times. I'll have an idea for, like, the background itself. So I'll just do that, and then I'll go back and start looking through my stash of things, pictures and words and things, to quotes, to see, what I would like to put on the page or what I think would go with the page. And so that's kind of what I did here, is I did the background and the page itself, and then went through my stash and found what I thought would go well with the page. And so here I'm just trimming off the tissue paper that overlap the edges of the journal page. And trimming a little bit on the flap. There's a couple places that need to be trimmed. And so I found this yellow bird with the purple flowers that I thought would look really cute on this page. And I found this saying or this phrase at the top that says "let it go," and I thought, I like that. I think that, is it'll be a good, start to this page. So that was the main inspiration, was the phrase "let it go." And I searched through my stash and I found, like I said, this little yellow bird with the purple flowers, which I'm putting that down on the cover. And then I found this other quote that says, "Some of us think holding on makes us stronger, but sometimes it is in letting go." So, and it went perfectly with this phrase that says, let it go. And this is more about, like it says, letting things go, not hanging on to things so much, which is something I have to remind myself of quite frequently, because I tend to hold on to too much, and that's not good. It's not healthy. It's not productive. So I have to remind myself, just to, let things go and not worry so much about everything. And then I found this other, I guess, quote you can say, that says, "You are ready to succeed. Every challenge you've met has made you stronger, and every obstacle you've worked around has made you smarter. In fact, every moment leading up to now has prepared you for this moment, the moment when you will reach for your dreams and find them within your reach." So I glued that down, and then I found this picture of this lady on the beach that I glued down. And I thought, well, that's really cute, but I felt like it needed a little something at the top and at the bottom. So I went back through my stash and I found these, I guess, titles. It says Your Future, Your Terms, and I ended up gluing those down as well, on the top and the bottom of the inside, which you'll see that here in a minute. And so I really like I said, the way this page turned out, and what it represents, and what it says. It's something, like I said, that I need to remind myself of, and this is a nice way to, kind of commemorate that. And so I glued everything down, and this, collage podge, it actually dries fairly quickly. I mean, I didn't have to wait too long for it to dry before I was able to go ahead and finish it up. So here I did the paper there that one saying was on was white, and I didn't want it white, so I took my watercolor and colored it blue. And then I took out my Posca pens, and I went around the words "Let It Go" with the dark blue Posca pen. But I didn't like the idea that the words were in white, and I thought they needed to be a different color. So I pulled out my orange Posca pen and colored in the words so that they would be orange instead of white, because I thought orange would go really well with the colors on this page. So that's what I'm doing here, is going around and coloring in the white letters from the saying. And I don't know why I have an aversion to white, but it seems that I do, because every time I see any white on my page, I feel the need to cover it up. And it's funny because I've done pages in workshops where the page had, a lot of white space, and I really like those pages and the way they turned out. But when I do pages, myself, of my own ideas and whatnot, for some reason I like color, and so, I like to use a lot of colors. So here I do take the white pen and decide to trace around this bird and the branch and the flowers with the white pen. I guess I could have used black, and I thought of that, at the time. I'm like, oh, I could, trace around it in black, but I'm like, always trace in black, so let's do something different. So I traced it in white, and then the bottom phrase there, I did trace it in black, so I did that little bit of black. And then on the inside, I think I hit this with the heat gun, yep, real quick, just to dry it, so I could go on the inside. And on the inside, I do white around the words at the top and the bottom, orange around the quote, and then dark blue to trace around the girl standing on the beach. So that's pretty much this art journal page. If you like the video, I'd appreciate it. If you want to see more, you can subscribe. I appreciate if you like it, or you can also leave me a comment. I would love to hear from you. And I will be, like I said, posting another video this weekend for the Arts Collaboration Group, so come and see what that's all about. And another video come Tuesday. Thank you for watching. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.